Okay, hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to JFD Brokers Traders Tea Time with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today is the 12th of February 2019, so welcome everyone and welcome to this Tuesday's afternoon session where we're going to have a look at the markets, a few charts, the usual stuff, guys. But before we do that, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest and we can continue. Okay, so now then, let's quickly jump into the charts. Now the first one I want to touch on here is the Dow Jones. Now looking at this index here, yesterday we can see that yesterday the daily candle closed in the negative territory here. Still the index remains above this downside resistance line taken from the high of the 3rd of October. Certainly that's a bit of a positive sign, but the only problem here is from the short-term perspective, of course, is this upside support line that got broken and kind of opened the way towards slightly lower levels. Now, of course, don't get me wrong, we could see maybe a bit of a slide here back down. The only thing is that looking at the cash index right now, we can see that, well, the cash index right now is trading higher, so in a way we will have a nice good opening gap here to the upside, so it will be closer towards this barrier that we've got marked here as the 25,440 level. So this is the one that we're keeping a close eye on, because a nice good push above that level here, above the last week's highs, which is the 25,440 level, a nice good push above that could open the path towards higher levels. And of course, this is where we will aim for the 25,965 level marked here by the highs of the 3rd of December. But if that fails to kind of withhold the bulls from pushing the index further here, then yep, we could see maybe a test of the 26,245 level, which is near the highs of the 8th of November. So for now, guys, of course, the upside kind of remains in play, even though we are trading below this short-term upside support line. Still we could see a further push higher, especially given the fact that looking at the cash index right now, it is trading around the 25,250 level, so basically away about 200 points away from yesterday's close. So yep, keep your eyes on that one, and that's why, guys, keep your eyes on the 25,440 level. So last week's highs, a nice good pop above that could open the path towards slightly higher levels. On the downside, in order for us to get comfortable with lower levels, well, as you probably understood now, we need to see a nice good drop initially, of course, below the 24,840 level. But again, for better confirmation, we would need to see a nice good drop below this downside resistance line, and only then we will target much lower levels like the 24,125 zone, or even actually going a little bit lower back towards the psychological 24,000 level. So for now, guys, long story short, in a way, because like I said, looking at the cash index, it is trading higher, it is trading above yesterday's close. So keep your eyes on the 25,440 level today. Let's see if it actually manages to break that or not. Jumping into oil, and which is the WTI oil. So looking at this, we're having a nice good reversal here to the upside. So looking at this daily chart here, you can see how strong this daily candle is right now. It is pushing higher. It is aiming towards the highs that we saw here around the 7th of February. But actually, let me just quickly jump into a 4-hour chart on this one, and basically you can see it in a much more clear picture here. So in a way, you can see that the commodities aiming now for the 54.20 level marked by the highs of the 7th of February. So this is going to be very interesting to see if it actually reaches that, but to be honest, it has the a lot of chances to reach that level. But the question here is, are we going to get a nice pop above this, and see a further continuation to the upside, maybe actually even reaching the R3 today, which is around the 55.10 zone, or actually is this gonna get held here near the 54.20, and then we'll see maybe a bit of a correction back down. So for now, certainly it seems that everything is changing more towards the upside. You can see that how yesterday the commodity failed to drive below the this key area of support here around the 51.30. So it kind of initially had a small kind of it kind of slightly pierced through this one, but quickly got back above it, and you can see today we're having a nice clear break above the 53 zone, and now, like I said, aiming in for a possible test of the 54.20 zone, which is marked by the highs of the 7th of February. For now, guys, certainly from the very short-term perspective, it seems that we could see further acceleration to the upside, but again, for a better confirmation, we need to see a nice good break above the 54.20 level first, so, and then we will target higher levels. If this suddenly decides to reverse back down and drops below the 53 level, certainly it creates this chance of maybe seeing another slide back down towards the 51.30 level, but for us, let's say, to consider the downside in the near term, or should I say in the medium term, we need to see a nice good drop below the 51.30 level, and only then we'll target lower levels. But for now, guys, it seems to be more bullish than bearish, so let's keep a close eye on some of these key resistance areas, the 54.20 being the first one. Jumping into AUDNZD. Now this is a very interesting pair here. Now looking at this, you can see how wild the swings are here, and to be honest, it continues. It after having this sell-off that we saw here back on the 5th of February, you can see that it quickly the next day it quickly got back above, back towards the areas where it from where it sold off, and but what's more important here is that it's now balancing around this key resistance area around the 1.0530, and you can see how important that level is. And let me just quickly mark that for our future reference, guys. So you can see that in the past here, back on in around mid-January, it acted as a very nice area of support. Then it took after it got broken here, it got broken in the end of January, now took the role of being a strong area of resistance, and we can see why the pair is struggling to overcome that. So basically, if we do get finally, if we see that push above this 1.0530 level, this is where more bulls could join in here and push the pair a little bit higher. Now the reason why I'm saying a little bit higher is because don't forget about this downside resistance line. So just to kind of show you what I'm talking about, so here you can see that this downside resistance line has been running here from the highs of August last year, and in a way this is going to be that first area of resistance that we're going to be keeping a close eye on if we get a nice pop above the 1.0530 level. So long story short, guys, for now, certainly for now, keep on monitoring this this 1.0530 level. If it gets a nice pop, then it increases increases its chances to travel and test this downside resistance line. Certainly the level to watch out around there could be this little inside swing low here that we had on the 20th of January, and that was approximately around the 1.0590 level. So keep your eyes on that one. On the downside, certainly looking at this 4-hour chart, if this decides to travel back down and starts dropping below these below the yesterday's lows here near the 1.0475 area, approximately there, there. Now this is where we could then target this area of support. Previously this good potential area of support, but you can see that of course, yeah, it got violated here back on the 5th and the 6th of February, but still nevertheless is going to be that first potential obstacle to watch out for, and that's around the 1.0440 level. So certainly if this fails to kind of withhold, then yep, a retest of let me just get rid of this arrow here, a retest of the 1.03 or should I even actually round it up towards the 1.04 level. A retest of that level could be possible, but then again, we in order to consider the 1.04 level, we need to see a couple of breaks here of some key areas of support, initially being the 1.0475, and then of course we'll target these ones right here around the 1.0440, and yep, then we'll target after that the 1.04. So for now, guys, long story short, of course this is looking more bullish than bearish, but then again, we could see maybe this sharp reversal back down and a drop below the 1.0475 level, so keep your eyes on that one. Jumping into EURCHF now, this is having a nice boost here today after reversing from this key area of support around the 1.1315 level, something like that. So reversing from here, pushing higher, breaking some key resistance areas, and certainly, but where it found its good area of resistance right now is around the 1.1395 level. You can see that in the past here it kind of acted as a nice important obstacle, initially kind of holding the rate here, holding down the rate between the around the 6th February. So since then it kind of held that rate lower, but now you can see it's trying to push back, try to overcome it, but now you can see that the bears are kicking in again and trying to lead this one lower. Of course, certainly all this is looking more bullish than bearish, especially if it fails, let's say, to drive back below the 1.1370 level. So if it fails to drive below that, then yep, we could see maybe another push higher, and of course this time again we'll keep on monitoring to this 113.95 area. A nice good pop above this could send this pair towards slightly higher levels. Of course, initially we will target this little peak that we saw here back on the 5th of February, which is around the 1.1444 level, but for now, like I said, you can see that the pair is just kind of slightly retracing back down. But again, like I said, if this fails to drive back below the 1.1370 level, or in a way you could also keep a close eye on this one right here around 1.1360 level, so approximately there. If it fails to drive below this, then yep, we could see a reversal and a push higher. But for those who are more on the cautious side, wait for another move above the 1.1395, and only then we'll target slightly higher levels. On the downside, guys, well, in order to kind of get comfortable with the downside, let's say we would need to see a nice good drop below the 113.15 level, and only then we will aim for these lows that we saw here back in the end of January, and those were approximately around the 112.70. So but for now we're just gonna play it safe, play it careful. Certainly at the moment it seems that the pair is picking up momentum, but like I said, if this suddenly decides to reverse sharply back down and drops below the 113.10 level, now this is where we will start looking at lower levels, slightly lower levels, of course, for now. Jumping into USDCHF, now this one, I was covering this one yesterday, and I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but basically we were yesterday it was pushing higher, and I was telling you guys to keep a close eye on this 1.01 level. This is kind of in a way becoming a psychological one. You can see that the pair almost managed to reach the highs of the spike that we saw yesterday, or should I say like overnight, during the Asian morning on Monday, and you can see that it kind of almost managed to reach that. So now it's slightly retracing back down. Overall, of course, this pair still remains the short-term outlook, at least the short-term outlook, remains positive, because we can see that the pair continues to trade above this upside support line taken from the low of the 9th of January. So even if we see maybe a strong retracement back down here, as long as the pair remains above this upside support line, we'll continue targeting higher levels at least in the medium term. So for now, guys, we are still kind of targeting slightly higher levels like the 1.0130, and just to kind of show you what that level was here in the past, you can see that how nicely this the pair got held here on the 13th of November around this 1.0130 level, from which it kind of reversed and pushed lower. So in a way, like I said, we're still kind of aiming for that area, and we will want to see if it actually plays the same role this time, if it's gonna really hold the pair down, and from which EURCHF will retrace back down again. So for now, guys, long story short, on the upside, we're still targeting the 1.0130. Let's see if it actually reaches that. Maybe not today, maybe tomorrow, but still, kind of like I said, it seems that it is picking up the momentum. The upside momentum is there, and we could see a possible test of this 1.0130 level. And the last pair I want to quickly touch on, and that's GBPJPY. Now this is very interesting. This is something for you guys to continue monitoring, basically, because you can see that how well this little range is playing out here right now, between these two key levels. So the resistance area here on the top, the 142.50, and on the lower side, the 141.72 approximately there, guys. So in a way, keep your eyes on this little range. A nice good pop through one of the sides could open the path towards like the direction, or should I say, could open the path in the direction of the break. So basically, if we do get a nice pop up of the 142.50 level, this is where you could then start targeting the 143.65 zone. You can see that it played out nicely as a good area of resistance here back in the beginning of February, but if this suddenly decides to drop below the 141.72, this is where you could we could brace ourselves, as we could see maybe a further decline towards the 140.65 marked here by the lows of the end of the 22nd of January and also the 21st of January. So very good potential area of support, but again, in order to kind of to see that level here, we need to see a drop below this lower side of this range that the pair is trading in right now. Okay, guys, I hope you found it useful, and I'll have to wrap it up here. Thank you very much for watching and listening, and if you want to join me tomorrow morning at my Trader's Espresso, and that's 7 o'clock GMT time. But for now, I hope you have a wonderful evening, guys. Bye-bye.